My name is Rachel. I am a therapist. I went to Cal State Fullerton, and now I'm doing therapy all the time. I had two loving parents and a nice brother. We had a good little 4 family members, very nuclear family. Lots of trips to Disneyland. Um, yeah, the recession hit my family just like everyone else. Yeah, definitely that was maybe a hard time for everyone. I remember it slightly. But yeah, then it didn't really start picking up until I was a little bit older, maybe 15 or 16, when I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And I was like, I want to be the first doctor in my family. I want to go to med school. I really want to do that. And so I looked up best schools. I looked up best places to get my education. And then I went into college, and I was the first one in my immediate family to go to college. I'm also the first one to graduate in my immediate family. So yeah, I graduated college, and during my college journey, though, that's when I got one of the worst news of my life. I was told, it was 2 months after my 21st birthday, that I was told I had cancer. And so this life-changing event happened to me. And that's when I guess I realized, can I still achieve being a doctor if I have a death sentence diagnosis? And that's when it really started changing my perspective. I was in the hospital for 8 months. I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. And that's when it really took a shift for me. I noticed a disparity within the hospital, that there wasn't a mental health specialist. And that's what I needed. I needed someone that was there for me, someone that cared about me and listened to me, and they weren't there. And so I started watching the doctors in the hospital and thinking, they're there doing their job, doing great, but they're not sitting there and talking with me. So I remember I went home and Googled, okay, how can I talk to people as a job? And I found therapy, and I was like, ooh, okay. So then that's when I kind of shifted my career goals. A lot of it was difficult to shift. I was studying for the MCAT, and I was taking physics classes and OChem. For any of you that's been through OChem, that's a very difficult class. And I kind of switched career paths midway through and decided I'd rather help people with the mental health aspect. And so that's, to answer your question, that's what kind of got me into the entire mental health field. I was sitting in my hospital bed, and they were telling me that I have a high fever, and they told me, I don't know if you're going to make it through this flu because you just had chemo. And I remember sitting there and thinking, that is really hard to hear, and that is difficult to process. And I remember thinking, I wish I could talk to someone about this, someone that's a professional, someone that could not guide me, but more of help me lay out my thoughts and put them all together for me so that I can kind of piece together what's the best course of action, or what am I actually feeling, or what's underneath all of this. And I didn't even know where to begin. I didn't even know how to start the mental health journey. I didn't know what to do. So it would have been nice for me to have something of that sort, to have someone sit there with me and full attention on me to lay out their thoughts with me. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that that's kind of lacking in society. There's still the stigma behind mental health, or that someone's weak if they don't have their mental health checked out, or they're weak if they go to therapy. And I really think that's a disservice to people that are struggling in silence. So I think there should be someone that is willing to sit there with them and talk through their emotions and map out what is best for them. When I was 21, I remember I was running out of breath, I guess, and I was becoming more pale than usual. I'm already very pale, but I was becoming very, very pale. When I say out of breath, I mean just sitting up out of bed. I was out of breath, and I remember thinking, this is such a drastic change. I was doing yoga, Pilates, all this stuff, and right now I can't even sit out of bed. So I knew something was wrong, and I went to the doctor. I went to urgent care, and there's another gap in the medical system there, where they were kind of going through people going quick, not much of the okay, let's talk about what's actually been going on with you. And I remember thinking, who do I talk to that will listen to me undivided? It's definitely not an ER person, definitely not urgent care. So I remember I had back-to-back ear infections that would never go away, a lot of symptoms that showed signs of cancer, but I was in such denial. I was like, no, there's no way, it can't be me. It would never be me that gets that. I follow all the laws, I follow school, I get straight A's. It can't possibly be me that gets that. And I was in just complete denial. I remember when I eventually went to the doctor, he pricked my finger, and I remember it looked like Kool-Aid falling down my finger. It didn't look like blood. And he said, go across the street to the hospital, and I need you to be admitted. And I didn't know what he meant, 21-year-old self going, okay, sure. And I go over there, and they basically wheeled me around from then on out. It wasn't until day 3 in intensive care when someone came into the room. He shook my hand, and he shook all my family members' hands. And then he said, Rachel, I'm going to be your oncologist. And my heart sunk, because if you know what oncology means, that means cancer. And so I lost it. Everything. There was a moment there I was like, did he just say oncology? And he did. He gave me his business card, and from then on out, he was my best support. He's down at City of Hope now. He's a great doctor if you ever need to go to cancer care. But he was amazing. He described to me what cancer was, because I just knew it as mutating cells from biology class. He explained what my journey will look like and how this will really affect me. I think that was the most helpful moment in my life, to realize this and to get through that. I needed someone to care, and he cared. So recovery process, that's the part they never tell you. Whenever you're sick or in the hospital, you don't know how long it will take you to really get better. I was told they don't know if I had a future, and being told that at 21 years old, it's not a happy thing to hear. So I remember thinking, okay, so how am I going to get through this? What am I going to do? And I remember I laid there and planned things. I was like, okay, I have to, like you said, get back on my feet. I have to get back on my feet and find what my new purpose is. How am I going to make the best of this second chance at life? And that was a huge process for me, not knowing, since tomorrow's not promised, nothing is ever just handed out anymore. So I have to figure out, what am I going to do with my newfound life? And so I was in the hospital with 4 rounds of chemo. Cytarabine is the name of the chemotherapy. And afterwards, I'm pushed back into the world after 8 months, bald, scared, worried about everything. I was a fall risk. I couldn't eat certain foods. I was newly allergic to things. Everything was different. And it was kind of a fresh new start. So there was a lot of stigma there, too, being bald and trying to go to school. A lot of people pointing and laughing, so overcoming more challenges in that aspect. But I think I faced it with grace. I had to have humor. I think humor is the biggest thing that got me through. If I were to have just let cancer win, where would I be? And I wasn't going to let that happen. I wasn't going to let some diagnosis decide the rest of my existence. And I think that's true for a lot of diagnoses. That's not going to define who I am, and I'm going to take my power back. And so once I did that, I got back on my feet mainly by just, I want to say grinding. I want to say just looking up, okay, how do I go back to school? How do I go back to a job? How do I go back to life? And there was no one there to kind of hold my hand and guide me through it. So what I had to do was kind of keep a journal of, okay, here's my goal today. Here's my goal tomorrow. I'm going to do one thing for myself every single day. And it wasn't until a year after that I was like, okay, I'm in a good spot. I'm in a good place now. And I finally graduated college, and I was like, okay, now it's time to focus on my career. I want to be a therapist. How do I get there? Where do I start? Where can I achieve this? And so it was a lot of researching, talking to people in the field, reaching out to anyone that I possibly can. Especially coming from a family that doesn't have degrees, it's very difficult to achieve something higher if there's not a background knowledge from people around me. So I kind of had to find a new way of handling this. Overcoming those kind of challenges was definitely difficult. Where I am today, to kind of answer that side of the question, today I'm completing my degree, a master's in clinical psychology. I have a lot to learn still. I'm going to show myself grace. I'm going to show myself courage, and I'm going to acknowledge that I've accomplished a lot, but there's still more to go. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to continue to develop and grow. And my journey doesn't end here, and I won't let it end here. If you're struggling with anything, that helping hand is there for you. There's someone out there that needs help. We're here. There's always going to be someone that can be here for you. You're not alone in this journey, and you never will be alone. We've all felt that way before, and we can help you. We'll reach our hand out, and I hope you grab it.